to the living God. They'll burn away. So bring your burdens to the living God. They'll burn away. So bring your burdens to the living God. They'll burn away.
Good evening. Hope everyone is doing well. Remember last night when I closed up the show, I said something about expect a busy news day today? How little did I know how much of an understatement that was going to be. Holy cow. Got lots of stuff to cover tonight. All across the board. Looks like I got 9 tabs open this evening. And in fact, some of the articles I had up from other sources like AP, for example, or War News 24/7, because RT hadn't released their report yet. And I do like to use RT not only because, well, I like accuracy for one, but also because they don't make articles 5 miles long. They pretty much get to the point, and that's how they do it. I turned on news earlier today, not really for the news, more for the weather, and when I turned it on, it was whatever, the news that starts at 5:30 on our channel 4, which is KMOV, which is hell if I know. But I think the lady's name is Katie or something like that does kind of like a world news kind of report thing. And Katie, is it Katie Couric? And I could be totally wrong on that, but something's binging me in the brain saying it's Katie Couric, but I don't know if that's true or not. I sat there and listened as she did everything she could to throw as much emotion into the... Oh, I didn't switch all the way over. To throw as much emotion as what she could into the story about the Boeing 737 MAX 9s. And I'm just sitting there thinking, do you... And it was... The fakeness was dripping off, you know? And it's just like... Do you really have to do that? Do you really have to put all this fake emotion into every damn story you cover? It's no wonder why people are such an emotional mess these days. They can't even turn, because I don't watch news. Because they turn on news and that's all they see is a bunch of emotional wrecks covering the news. That didn't used to be a thing. And in fact, it was highly frowned upon for news anchors and whatnot to become emotionally involved in the story. Even stories that it would be almost impossible to not get emotionally involved in, and that was when I gained my highest level of respect for any anchor person ever, and his name is Julius Hunter, and he was a local news anchor in St. Louis, and I think it was, oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the little girl, but it was a massive story about a little girl that was abducted. I can't remember, but it was really, really big. This is a long time ago. And I can remember watching Julius Hunter, which is a man that I had watched for years because my dad watched the news religiously. And it really left a mark on me when the man couldn't keep it together. And there was no hiding his profound sadness, his immense anger, just a lot of frustration when he was talking about that particular situation. And the name is right there, but I can't quite grasp it. I believe she was unfortunately found dead, and I want to say that it was a family member or a friend of the family or something like that. I can't remember. I mean, it was probably the biggest child abduction case in the 80s. It was in the 80s, and I just can't quite. I mean, her name's right there, but I can't quite pull it. And then to look at the news today, and that's all it is. It blows my mind. It's like, just report the story, lady. So anyway, I'm referring to the airplane, the 737 MAX 9. And I really got issue with the fact that this airplane is even on the level it is in the skies at this point in time. And it's equally frustrating that nothing has been done in regards to the FAA, to them turning their head, which caused, over 300 people to lose their lives in between two plane crashes. And then now again, we've got the same aircraft that apparently they're finding issues with the fitting of these panels that they have in place. I don't, speaking from an aviation standpoint, I don't think Boeing should be in business right now. I think that every single office at every single location should be packing up their shit to go home. I love aviation. I love airplanes, including many that were built and designed by Boeing. But I don't think that any company deserves just to keep getting these chances. These are big things. That panel failed at around 16,000 feet from what I hear. And yeah, they put on a new door and lock washers. Right. They probably did. And maybe threw a little bit of duct tape over top of them. It just doesn't make sense to me that a company like this is allowed to continue on. And again, I like Boeing. They've made some really incredible aircraft over the years. But you can't hold their accomplishments from the past to the present if their decisions in the present are costing people their lives. As I was saying, that plane was like 16,000 feet when that panel failed. If that plane would have been at cruising altitude, there probably wouldn't be a living person on that plane. that plane would have likely, very, very, very likely blown apart. A lot of difference in air pressure there. And that maddens me. Because lo and behold, they found a bunch of loose bolts and a bunch of issues on these aircraft, on several of the aircraft. Man, howdy, Leo. Howdy, Steve. Yeah, it's funny, though, about the rock washers. You're probably accurate. Glad to see your back's doing better, man. I know how that is. I woke up this morning with, I've got a spot in my back that's given me problems for a long time. And this morning it was hell when I got up. And I try not to take any kind of medicines. But I did dive into the ibuprofen. I took 4 ibuprofen like right after I got up. And then around, I don't know, noon or something, I think I took another 4 ibuprofen. And it's manageable right now until I go lay down. Then it's going to remind me that, oh, I'm still here. Because that's where I hurt. When I hurt the most is when I lay down and go to bed. Some reason that tears me up. Yeah, I hear you about being up since 4. I've been only up since 6 this morning. I think yesterday morning I was up about 4:30 or something. A lot of times I get up, I can't go back to sleep, and it sucks. It really sucks. Anywho, like I say, we've got a ton of articles, so I'm going to try to make it through them in a relatively decent amount of time, but not until after I have a drink of coffee. Or 5. Oh, man. Got 1 e-cig charged. These are my nighttime e-cigs. I've got one with green apple and the other with sour gummy worms. Yum, yum, yum. Speaking of that, I need to check the sour gummy worms. Oh, we're good in that. I just filled the green apple. It's not done charging, so I know it's good. The green apple, one that I've got an issue with it. There's a pin, a contact pin that pushes. I don't have one handy, but takes these little pods, and there's little contacts on the bottom of it, and inside there you've got some spring-loaded pins that are the electrical contacts. Well, whatever it is that's supposed to hold those pins in place broke on one of the pins on the one that I got green apple in, and so if I pull it apart, that pin will pop out, and I got to finagle it to get it back in. Got to have plenty of light to do it, the whole 9 tweezers, the whole 9 yards. And so what I did is I took some electrical tape. I put the pod in it, wrapped the top with electrical tape. Number 1, I can't just pull out the pod. And number 2, even at night when I'm in bed, I can, just by grabbing the e-cig, I can feel it, and I can tell whether or not I've got that one, the green apple one, or the other one. And the other thing is I never did put, I showed how I used a Velcro dot in order to keep this base on this particular one. I never have done that to the other one, and the reason I haven't is because that's one way I identify which one I've got. And I always lose one, by the way. I lose one every single night. It winds up under me somehow, and I can't find it. I know, it's a rough life. But anyway, I love these little things, though. Not as much as I love my Aegis Legend, but nonetheless. This damn battle mod has been amazing. I call it a battle mod because it looks like hell. Works like a champ. Fun times. I am getting warm. Hang on. been doing that all day. Taking off long sleeve shirt, putting it back on. Don't be surprised if 10 minutes I don't grab it and put it back on. Am I going through menopause? And why do they call it menopause? Wouldn't womenopause be a little bit more accurate? I mean, I don't want to offend anybody that's trying to identify as something freaky out there, but, you know. Hey, if we have to change the damn name of the cover that's in the middle of the road to a person hole cover, then damn it, I want menopause changed to womenopause. Anyway. Let's see. That's not good. I'll be adding that. So make that 10 articles. Man, I'll tell you. This year is starting out insane. Okay. U.S. air carrier detects loose bolts on grounded Boeing 737s. Again, it's the MAX 9 variant. United Airlines has discovered inadequately, secured door plugs, which is not the same as butt plugs, different thing, on the Boeing 737 MAX 9 planes that it grounded in the wake of last week's mid-air blowout on an Alaska Airlines flight. Speaking of that, I did happen to notice an Alaska Airlines flight flying over us today, but only because I was trying to find some jets. I almost completely forgot about this. Today, we got more diesel fuel. I was carrying the diesel fuel in, and I heard aircraft above me, but it sounded weird. It didn't sound like one aircraft, and it wasn't. It was indeed 3 fighters. And I will say this. I have a pretty good handle on different aircraft. I can't tell you what these were. They weren't anything that I am aware of. They weren't an F-18, which is common out of St. Louis. Wasn't an F-15, which is also common out of St. Louis. It wasn't an F-22, wasn't an F-35, wasn't an F-16. I don't think I said that one. It wasn't any of the jets that I am really familiar with, and I would have to look again at an Albatross, but they might have been L-39 Albatrosses, but I'm not sure on that. I have no idea what they were, but they were 3 of them flying in formation and headed in the St. Louis direction. So, and I pulled up both radar box and whatever the other one is, flight aware or whatever. And I pulled both up, and neither one of them showed those aircraft. So, thought that was interesting. Anywho, I don't want your AI crap. Article here goes on to say, raising new safety concerns about an aircraft that was previously suspended from flying following 2 deadly crashes. Since we began preliminary inspections on Saturday, we have found instances that appear to relate to installation issues in the door plug. For example, bolts that needed additional tightening, United said in a statement. These findings will be remedied by our tech ops team to safely return the aircraft to service. U.S. Federal Aviation Administration ordered the grounding of all 737 MAX 9 airliners for safety checks after a door plug blew out in midair during an Alaska Airlines flight on Friday. Wow. The crew was forced to turn back and make an emergency landing in Portland, Oregon, where the flight originated, and several of the 171 passengers suffered injuries. The FAA decision affected an estimated 171 planes and led to the cancellations of hundreds of flights. United said it had 79 Boeing 737 MAX 9s in its fleet. The airline didn't disclose how many of its jets had loose bolts. Alaska Airlines has 65 MAX 9s. The FAA said all MAX 9s will remain grounded until operators complete enhanced inspections and take any needed corrective actions. The FAA's priority is always keeping Americans safe, the agency added. Well, I think you kind of dropped the ball on this particular aircraft twice. A separate agency, the National Transportation Safety Board, is investigating the mid-air blowout. The door plug, which blew out at an altitude around 16,000 feet, was found by a Portland school teacher in his backyard. Alaska Airlines had previously stopped using the plane that suffered the blowout on trips to Hawaii because of a warning light indicating a possible pressurization problem had lit up on several previous flights. NTSB chairwoman Jennifer Homendy, told reporters on Sunday. The aircraft was restricted to shorter flights over land so it could return very quickly to an airport if the warning light lit up again, she said. However, she added the NTSB hasn't yet confirmed the connection between the previous pressurization warnings and Friday's blowout. Yeah, because that's a real no-brainer there. That's what you call trying to cover your butt. That is exactly what that is. I think it's pretty obvious that if they're finding loose bolts and whatnot when it comes to a panel of a pressurized aircraft, you probably found your leak. I don't know. My big issue is the fact that they had a light coming on regarding the pressurization of the aircraft, and they still flew the thing. That's not something that you ignore. You're talking about an aircraft that, if it would lose pressurization in a hurry, literally flying at cruise altitude, would very likely blow up. It's not a minor thing. Not even close. I don't know. But I expect that you're going to see much more of this kind of stuff happening. I don't know. Question on the Albatross. The L-38, L-39, I'm not really sure what is the difference of the 38, 39, and 45. Are they all Albatrosses? I mean, are they all similar? The only one I'm afraid of, the only one I'm aware of is the L-39. So, and the only reason I'm aware of that is because I've got it for the flight simulator. So, fun little planes. But, I don't know. I think you're going to see a lot more of this type of stuff happening because everybody's stretched thin. And if you think that the CEOs of these major airlines are going to go home with a penny less, not happening. Not happening. They will let that company run into the ground while they're going to the bank every single week to cash their check. Let me open the door for somebody, so to speak. Somebody asking to get in the group. I actually think I know this person. I think. Anyway. And been dealing with fun there too in our little local group. So somebody had posted, I thought it was funny, but posted a meme the other day on the 6th that said it's got to be, yeah, here it is. Happy Insurrection Day. I thought it was funny, but there were people that took offense to it. It is what it is. I'm not going to silence somebody. That's not what that group is about. In fact, it's about quite the opposite. Not silencing people. Anyway, moving on. I cannot tell you the amount of times that cases like this frustrate me to no end. And it's not just the fact that it was law enforcement involved in this particular case. When I went to high school, I wasn't friends with them or anything like that. It's not like I knew them or anything else, but there were, not real well. There were some kids attending a party, and at some point during the party, one of them had left. I don't know if he was going to get more alcohol or what. He was driving a big, huge, jacked up four-wheel drive. And a young man and a young woman was leaving the party. And I'm not sure exactly how and what all happened. But it wound up, he ran over the vehicle. And he was, from my understanding, allegedly, whatever, definitely intoxicated. And I can't tell you that the others weren't. They were at a party. But nonetheless, the young lady lost her life. And the young man, he's still with us. But to know him before that and to know him now, beyond frustrating. And yet, because of that particular person, I would say their father's connections to the town, nothing was really done from that. Not anything substantial. And as a matter of fact, if I recall correctly, it was a very short order of time before he was back at the racetrack racing cars and everything else as if nothing happened. I will never forget that. I will never forgive that. Ever. And so anytime that I see something like this, it pulls all that back up and everything that I've seen and heard throughout my life. But it makes it even worse when it's a matter of when it's a law enforcement officer that is involved in a case like this, and they get their hand slapped. It just really pisses me off, to be quite frank. It happened Jefferson County, Missouri, not super far from us. Says a former Jefferson County Sheriff's deputy is no longer facing felony charges in relation to an April crash in which his wife was killed. Colby McCreary was originally charged with one count of driving while intoxicated resulting in the death of another, which is a Class C felony, and one count of involuntary manslaughter, which is also a Class C felony, in the accident that resulted in the death of his wife, Savannah McCreary, 28. Friday, the charges against him were amended to driving while intoxicated, a Class B misdemeanor. I was devastated. If it was anybody else, we'd be held accountable, said Savannah's mother, Krista, Kopikoff, if I said that even close to correct. The investigation was first conducted by the Festus Police Department, and then it was taken over by the Missouri State Highway Patrol. The crash happened on Interstate 55 near Manley Quarry Road in Festus, Missouri, in the early hours of April 30th, 2023. According to the original probable cause statement, toxicology results from McCreary showed that he had a blood alcohol content of 0.17 above the BAC limit of 0.08 in Missouri. So yeah, he was drunk. According to MSHP, witnesses to the crash watched the Jeep Cherokee that Colby McCreary was driving that night veer off the right side of the roadway, strike a wall, and then overturn. Both Colby and Savannah McCreary, who was in the passenger seat, were ejected from the car. The statement also reported that other witnesses said seen Colby McCreary drinking alcohol on April 29 before the crash. Savannah McCreary was transported to Mercy Hospital South, where she was pronounced dead. And it goes into the rest of it, and as if it needs to. This is ridiculous. Now, people probably don't want to hear what my thoughts are. I'm going to give them, though. Because I firmly stand behind this. I think when it comes to drunk driving, I think the first time somebody gets caught, they lose their driving privileges for a specific set of time that nothing can change. It's a hard law. You get caught drinking and driving, you lose your license for X amount of time. No amount of money, no amount of buddyship with an attorney or a judge or anything else can change that. A mandatory minimum. The second time, I think, deserves one hell of a prison sentence, and never, no matter what, will you ever get the right to drive back again. If you cost somebody else their life while drinking and driving, I think that's death penalty. No ifs, ands, or buts. No, that's the mandatory minimum. Death penalty. If you take another person's life by carelessly and recklessly endangering other people, what more needs to be said? To me, that's just as stupid as if somebody was waving around a firearm and just popping off the trigger and hitting somebody. What's the difference? It's the same amount of negligence. It's the same amount of neglect. It's the same amount of recklessness. But that's my thoughts on it. And I know a lot of people won't share those same thoughts on the drinking and driving because, to be quite honest, a lot of people want to be able to get away with it. Disgusting. Anyway, massive Russian attack with Iskander-M and Kinzhal in Ukraine. For the first time, Kiev admits 35% shoot-down rate. Apparently, they hit them like crazy. It says here, Russian Ministry of Defense spoke of a group strike on military and industrial facilities in Ukraine. This morning, a coordinated strike with long-range, high-precision sea-based and air-based weapons, including the Kinzhal hypersonic missile system, was carried out against the facilities of the military-industrial complex of Ukraine, the report said. For the first time, Ukraine admitted that it shot down only 18 of the 51 missiles, 35% launched by Russia today. Specifically, the Ukrainian air defense shot down 0 of 4, or 0 of the Kinzhal, 18 out of 24 missiles, or 75% of the X-101 missiles, 0% of the KH-22 missiles, 0% of the Iskander-M missiles, and 0% of the KH-31P missiles. So the only missiles they effectively shot down were the X-101s. It goes through the details there, and that's the end of the article. Just goes through. Now here it says Shahed drones. They did add one other one here. Not a missile, it's a drone. But they did get all of them, all 8 of the Shahed, however it's pronounced, the drones. So a lot of escalation going on there. I gotta have some coffee. It's good. I can't stop drinking it. All right. Let's see. Next up, Russia and Iran don't need SWIFT, says Tehran. Oh, goodness. You want to see a world war? out of everything that's on the table right now, this is more likely to cause a world war than anything else. Turkey is now getting in on the BRICS system and their new system of payment. Article here says Iran and Russia have officially switched from the West's SWIFT financial clearing system to a direct interbank transfer mechanism, the deputy head of the Central Bank of Iran has said. Mohsen Karimi told Iranian state television on Sunday that the system allows companies in both countries to trade in their respective national currencies instead of using the dollar or euro, Fars news agency reported. We have linked the financial correspondence networks of the two countries, he explained. This means that the banks of our two countries no longer need Switzerland to communicate with each other, and commercial banks in both countries can establish brokerage relations with each other. The Iranian exporter can now charge the Russian side in rials, I don't know how that's pronounced, and receive money from them via Russian banks in Iran, Karimi added, noting that the system also allows for payments in Russian rubles. Belgium-based SWIFT is a high-security banking messaging system that enables financial transfers around the globe. While a number of countries have their own messaging systems, the most global transactions are still conducted via SWIFT. Last year, key Russian banks were disconnected from the network as part of sanctions related to the Ukraine conflict. And Iran, has had the hell sanctioned out of them for a long time, and they haven't been able to participate in a lot of the different financial markets out there, or the different markets period out there, because of that. This changes everything, and now nations like Iran, Venezuela, North Korea, Russia, China, Turkey, you name it, nation after nation after nation, are now going to have a second option available, whereas the sanctions that we put on these countries will mean nothing. Like I said, if there is one thing that will cause World War III, this is it. Guaranteed. Coffee. Steve, I don't got any Confederate money. Oh man. But the good news is not much longer, and Monopoly money will actually be worth more than the dollar. So, keep on to those Monopoly games. Germany on the verge of collapse. Historic battles at the Brandenburg Gate. Sanctions against Russia broke the steam engine of Europe. Yeah. Thousands of farmers gathered in front of the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin, Germany, paralyzing the politically historic city for the first time since the reunification. Countless tractors arrived in Berlin on Sunday afternoon to take part in today's giant demonstrations. Sanctions against Russia backfired on the so-called steam engine of the old continent, and this is because the Seoul's government, in an attempt to close the black hole of 17 billion euros, which was caused by the sanctions in Russia and the loss of the Nord Stream pipelines, announced cuts in the state budget. In fact, farmers who are opposed to the impoverishment of the country's productive units so that the multinationals can take over, blocked a ferry in Schleswig in northern Germany, in which the Minister of Economy and Vice Chancellor Robert Habeck was riding, and almost killed him. Several hundred peasants have gathered at the Brandenburg Gate. I love how they just call them peasants. Brandenburg police reported blockades across the state's highway network this morning. Almost all roads are blocked. Many more tractors and agricultural machinery are on the way to the politically historic city, which was once divided into the West and East Berlin. So yeah, people have had it. It goes on to say German farmers began a week of protest earlier today, Monday, in protest at plans to phase out farm subsidies as the coalition government imposes budget cuts. Convoys of tractors and trucks, some with protest banners reading "No farmers, no food, no future," made their way to the German roads in sub-zero temperatures. In Berlin, a line of dozens of tractors blocked the main boulevard leading to the Brandenburg Gate. According to police reports, roads and bypasses were blocked at many places across the country, causing traffic jams during the morning rush hour. Farmers have vowed to block major traffic and supply routes until next week, as they warn that the ending tax breaks will make farms unviable. The head of the German Farmers Union, DBV, Watchman, and I'm sure I got that way wrong, called on the public to stand by farmers in an interview published today, Monday. "We don't want to lose the support and solidarity of large sections of the population," he told Stern magazine, clarifying that farmers will not accept the planned tax increases in the agricultural sector. Seoul's unpopular socialists, liberals, and Greens government angered farmers last month with plans to scrap the farm vehicle tax exemption and diesel tax breaks. The proposals were part of a package to plug a €17 billion hole in the 2024 budget. The government backtracked last Thursday, in part saying the car tax exemption would be maintained and cuts to diesel tax relief for farmers would be phased in over 3 years, with the subsidy cut by 40% this year, by 30% in 2025, and its termination from 2026. However, the German Farmers Union said it was insisting on a complete reversal of the plans and went ahead with a week of action starting today. So, and it's so sad. We used to be the leaders of freedom, and now we sit back and watch other countries do it. Nicotine. Thought we were going to get hit with quite a bit of snow. Believe it or not, the weatherman has been right so far, and the snow is staying on the east side of the Mississippi, or the west side, of the Mississippi River. And he said it wasn't going to push over into the east side. So far, he's been right. So apparently, there's a lot of precipitation. But we're only getting rain so far. Anyway, Biden won't fire Pentagon chief, says Politico, and I'm kind of curious if it's even came out what the hell he was having done. I don't know if that came out anywhere. Article says U.S. President Joe Biden won't fire Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin for hiding his hospitalization from both the public and the government, Politico reported on Monday, citing unnamed senior administration officials. This doesn't even make sense to me. Why would you hide, especially being in a position like that? Why would you hide it? Austin was admitted to the Walter Reed National Military Medical Center last Monday due to complications following a recent elective medical procedure. The Pentagon revealed to reporters on Friday. Over the weekend, it emerged that Austin was still in the hospital, but that no one had informed the White House of his initial absence. And let's be honest here, he could have told Biden directly. If that's the case, it's nobody else's fault. And no, that's not the case, I'm sure. 4 anonymous officials spoke to Politico following calls by Republicans for Austin to relinquish his post, insisting that Biden is famously loyal and would refuse to accept a resignation even if the former general were to offer it. Austin's going nowhere, one senior administration official told the outlet. Biden respects the fact that Secretary Austin took ownership for the lack of transparency, National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told reporters on Monday, referring to the Pentagon chief's statement on Saturday, admitting he could have done a better job ensuring the public was appropriately informed. Our main focus right now is on Secretary Austin's health and making sure he gets all the care and support he needs to fully recover, Kirby added. The condition that put Austin in the hospital has not yet been disclosed. He remains institutionalized, where the rest of them belong, and the Pentagon does not have a specific date for his release, Major General Pat Ryder said on Sunday. I'm trying to figure out all damn day, how in the hell do we have a fly in here? It's winter, yo. Get the hell out of here. Leave me alone. Let's see. Apparently nobody told the fly. It's winter. So anyway, this is insane. Our entire government is an illegitimate joke at this point. I have a feeling, got another one up there. Fortunately, it's not another article I need to cover. Yawning. Hezbollah commander killed in Lebanon. I think you're going to see a lot of this stuff really ratchet up as well, too, because there's this thing going into countries where you're not invited and killing people. I'm pretty sure that it's only a matter of time before they start striking back. And when I say that, I mean in a major way. Not in the ways that they've been doing so far. I mean in a major way. A senior commander of Hezbollah's elite special forces unit has been killed in an alleged Israeli airstrike in southern Lebanon, ratcheting up tensions as West Jerusalem's war with Hamas threatens to expand to a second front. Hezbollah's military media office confirmed the death on Monday of Wissam al-Tawil, deputy head of the militant group Secretive Radwan Commando Unit. He and another Hezbollah fighter were reportedly killed when a sport utility vehicle in which they were riding was struck by a missile in the Lebanese town of Majal Shalm. Shalm, I don't know how that's pronounced. About 4 miles north of the Israeli border. Al-Tawil is the is the highest level Hezbollah member to have been killed since Israel's war with Hamas began on October 7. Cross-border violence has escalated in recent days. Hezbollah launched a missile attack on an Israeli intelligence base on Saturday, which came in response to a drone strike last week that killed Hamas deputy leader Salih al-Arori and 6 other people in a Beirut suburb. And like I say, this is going to be tit-for-tat escalations back and forth until it just flat breaks out on both fronts. I don't know. You know, there's a certain quote-unquote nation that doesn't exist at the end of the Bible. A Biden administration to unveil contractor rule that would upend gig economy. And this is stuff that folks really need to pay attention to. Because they'll make it all sound like what they're doing is something that is all on the up and up. No. They're good at coming up with cover excuses for what they're really up to. I don't know what all they're up to with this. I haven't looked that deeply into it. But nonetheless, we have been watching as the reins tighten around people maybe I shouldn't have said reins, maybe noose, whatever, tightened around people when it comes to them making money. And some people might say, oh, well, it serves them right. They need to pay whatever. I hope boot leather tastes really damn good. No, the government is not entitled to 25% or more of what you make. That's horse shit. That is horse shit. It's theft. It's taxation without representation. And I want to know where the damn tea is stored at. But anyway, the administration of U.S. President Joe Biden will release a final rule as soon as this week that will make it more difficult for companies to treat workers as independent contractors rather than employees that typically cost a company more, an administration official said. Look, I still remember when they decided to, quote-unquote, help us out by making insurance mandatory, right? Health insurance. Companies going to have to carry health insurance on their full-time employees. So what did the companies do? They busted everybody down to part-time. Nobody got the insurance coverage that the company was trying to, or that the government was trying to say they were trying to do. And you have to understand, this all comes down to that. It comes down to government officials having buddies in the insurance industry. And so what they are trying to do is mandate something for U.S. citizens to have to buy, which is illegal. And that way their buddies can get stinking rich because you have no other choice. It didn't work necessarily well that time. It worked good for the car insurance thing, and they got away with it for the car insurance thing because, you know, they made it sound like such a good idea. And I'm not saying it is a good idea not to have automotive insurance and drive. I'm not saying that. That's on you, boo. I mean, you're the one that has to deal with that. I've been there. I had to deal with it. It is what it is. The thing of it is it is illegal for the government to mandate something like that. So since that was a failed effort on the health insurance racket, then that's when Obamacare, or more aptly called Romneycare, came along. And once again, was people in government trying to scratch the backs of their friends in the insurance companies, once again, illegally and illegitimately mandating that people purchase something. You can't do that. It's illegal. Well, it was illegal. I can't say anything's illegal these days. It's just absolutely unreal what's going on. So expect this to really cause a lot of problems. Everything the government puts its hands on. Everything. I thought this was a bit of a crazy story. Gotta have coffee. Man, almost 9 and I'm trying to whip through these. Oh, there's quite a bit. 21 injured in hotel blast in Texas. It's like freaky. Now I immediately, when I heard about this, I figured it was probably gas, and that's what it appears to be. Says at least 21 people were injured in a suspected gas explosion at a Texas hotel, the Fort Worth Fire Department said. One person was initially reported as missing but has since been located. According to officials, they received calls about a type of explosion inside the Sandman Signature Hotel in downtown Fort Worth shortly after 3:30 p.m. local time. At least 2 floors of the building's facade were blown out onto the street and into a parking lot, local media said. And the pictures were just insane that I saw. Fort Worth Fire Department spokesman Craig Trojacek told reporters that although a gas leak has occurred, it is too early to say if it has led to the blast. There is a smell of gas here in downtown. We're not sure if the smell of gas was caused by the explosion or the fire itself, or if that's what caused the explosion, Trojacek said. According to the fire department, 26 rooms were occupied at the time of the blast, and several people were extricated from the basement that weren't able to get out on their own. I don't know what all that's going to show. I'm guessing that it's showing the actual, or the aftermath of the explosion, I guess. The images I saw, though, were insane. Yeah, and this is just video of that. But some of the images I saw were absolutely insane. It said 3 of the injured victims were working at Museum, the restaurant inside the hotel. Luckily, Museum, or Museme, I don't know, was closed during the time of the explosion, so we had no customers dining and limited employees working, said Josh Babb, co-founder of the Museum, as recorded by CBS Texas. The 245-room hotel was built in 1920 and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, according to its website. That's a little bit of craziness. Talk about an unexpected SHTF. Hang on. Oh. Why do people... I don't have my finger on the delete button for the local group here, and I'm not gonna hover my finger over the delete button. Now, if there's something going on that ain't right, if there's a scam, if there's whatever, yeah, that stuff gets deleted and the people get banned. But it's a lady that is looking for a liver. She's trying to find a liver. I think a liver. And so she does post 2-3 times a week, I guess. Trying to, kidney. Trying to find a donor. And I am not going to stand in the way of that. I'm not going to do it. Nope. Because if that was me, I wouldn't want somebody trying to crush my chances of getting an organ transplant. That's just madness, in my opinion. Not gonna do it. Now, if it turned out that it's a scam thing or something like that, well then yeah, that's a given, but I don't think it is. War can come to us, says the Swedish defense minister. Sweden's top officials have urged their people to prepare for a possible war amid the rising tensions with Russia. The ministers made their statement at the multi-day Folkets National Conference in Salin. I'm sure you all know exactly what I'm talking about. In his speech on Sunday, Foreign Minister Tobias Billström hailed his country's expected membership in the U.S.-led NATO military bloc as the biggest change in Swedish security policy in more than 200 years. I would say he probably made a big mistake. Billström warned that Russia will constitute a serious threat to the security of Sweden and Europe for the foreseeable future. He admitted that Stockholm must be realistic and assume and be prepared for a drawn-out confrontation. Echoing his sentiment, Defense Minister Paul Johnson declared that war can also come to us. He claimed that Ukraine is acting as Europe's shield during its conflict with Russia. And see, I don't buy any of this. I don't think Russia is interested, Putin, I don't think he's interested in trying to dominate the planet. I think he's dealing with Ukraine, and I think that's all he's concerned. Hey, I could be wrong, but I think that's all he's concerned about. And I think it would have been long done and over with had the United States allowed Zelensky or the Ukrainian government as a whole to sit down and talk to Putin. But since that's not been allowed, and they keep funneling the American taxpayer money and taxpayer-paid weaponry into that country, you know, if there's anything that is endangering the security of all those nations, it's because they keep giving them ammunition and weapons. Duh. Anyway, I honestly thought that was going to be wrapped up in the fall. But clearly countries were able to find a whole lot more stuff they could give them. Nicotine. Batteries. I got way too many damn batteries to keep on top of. Okay. And I got my watch band too tight. I love these things and I hate them. I gotta break back out the sewing machine though. Because this is a military style watch band. And the first one I got given to me from my brother when he was in the Marines. And it was just an olive drab green. And I love that thing. I absolutely love that watch band. And so I got to thinking about those watch bands, and I found them. They're still available. And so I bought an ACU digital one years ago. I bought it and a mechanical watch. It's supposed to be an auto-winding mechanical watch that just absolutely won't keep time. And I bought the band for that. And then as I was going through sorting stuff the other day, I ran across it, and I'm like, I'm going to put my tick watch on there. And that's what I did. However, I always question these things because, I can't imagine somebody needing to make sure that they're going to hit their mark at the right time and need to be in a quiet, secluded space where they can get the drop on the enemy, and all of a sudden you hear, yeah, I don't think that's too covert. So I don't know what the deal is with that. However, I'm not in a trench fighting a war, but I might be if I wake Jen up in the middle of the night just to see what my damn watch says. So what I'm going to do is I've got those damn Velcro dots, and I'm going to sew 1 or 2 Velcro dots on the back side of this. So that way when I open it up, and you guys can't hardly see. That way, when I open it up, I can flip it back around and Velcro it like that. So when I'm in bed sleeping at night and my phone goes off, my watch goes off, I can just turn it and look like I had for years. So I need to get on that. All right. That's odd. I got the ohms locked on that, so they shouldn't move, but they did. They changed. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Anyway, reckon we can read these headlines and get the heck out of here. I actually, I did a little bit of reading today, probably about a half a chapter, a little more than half a chapter. I actually didn't go into Flight Sim or VTOL VR today. In fact, I never even took my headset out of its case. Nah, just nah. U.S. lawmakers sideline Ukraine to reach budget deal. Let's see. You're starting to fail? I've been starting to fail for a while now. Zelensky wants West to teach Russia. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to happen. Kiev mayor buys $6 million mansion in Germany, says media. Well, that's mighty nice of him. Wonder how many of those $1 million Renos were American. Top oil exporter cuts prices, says media. Ukraine has lost 500,000 troops, says ex-prosecutor general. And for those that aren't so spiffy at math, either one, that's 500,000 people. Let's see. German farmers block roads nationwide. I covered that. China accuses U.S. of economic bullying. Well, yeah. No terrorist is immune, Netanyahu tells Hezbollah. Yeah, well, you're not either, buddy. China arrests suspected British spy. Poland stalled Nord Stream probe, says Wall Street Journal. Russia and Iran ditch SWIFT. Oh, I'm actually covering some of them I covered. Russia strikes Ukraine's military industrial complex, says Ministry of Defense. Covered that. Russia will never return to the West, says business ombudsman. Hard times ahead for France, says minister. Hamas using North Korean weapons, says Seoul. Germany tells rest of EU to do more for Ukraine. Strange delay from Denmark in the second quarter of 2024, the delivery of F-16 fighters to Ukraine. Let's see. Russia launched a new full-frontal missile attack on almost all of Ukrainian territory, which was what we talked about in this article. Admission of Zeluzny, something. I can't pronounce these names. Critical military and industrial infrastructures were hit. Explosions in 108 areas. It was a hell of a hit. Ukrainians admit we cannot protect all of Ukraine's airspace. What was your first clue? Mystery in the USA with... I covered that guy. Turkey is preparing for the BRICS. Fidan is preparing diplomats without knowledge of English, Russian included. So, Germany U-turns on Saudi jet deal. Biden won't covered that. Hezbollah commander killed in Lebanon. Actually, I covered that. Most Germans want Scholz to step down, says a poll. U.S. says F-16 flight meant to warn the Serbs. I guess they flew over Serbia. Biden administration to unveil contractor rules. I covered that. France to reshuffle government in wake of PM's resignation. Ukraine threatens to freeze draft dodgers' bank accounts. Arab leader told Netanyahu to ask Zelensky for money, says the media. Good response. Ukrainian rocket attack on Russia injures 3. Americans see border crisis as an invasion, says a poll. Gaza protesters disrupt Biden campaign event. Let's see. Trump judge swatted in Washington. Outrage over Nazi salutes at memorial event in Rome. Let's see. And lastly, Andrew Tate handed a victory in court. I know you're all on the edge of your seats. Crazy. Crazy. Oh, I never did even flip back over the video. Oh, well. I'm sure y'all be okay. I don't know if I will, though. I'm tired. I want to lay down. I am so happy that we are now running the diesel heater again. For one, so I don't see the damn light come on those heaters. And because it's on low. I just put the diesel heater on low. It's on 1.6, as low as it'll go. And that's hertz, that is, 1.6 hertz. And I leave the heaters where they were. So, the electric heaters. So, if that diesel heater can't keep up, then these will kick on just long enough to warm it up enough to where we normally keep it. But ever since I fired that heater up, and it's 34 degrees right now as I speak, and ever since I fired that heater up today, those heaters haven't came on. Not a single time. So, yeah. Kind of not looking forward to what the power bill is going to be, but nothing can do about it really. But hopefully, the rest of the winter we can pretty well use mostly diesel heat because it is so much cheaper. It really truly is, and it's a way better heat. I mean, I actually feel warm. I don't really feel warm when it comes to a radiant type of heat. That just doesn't do it for me. So I like wood heat, and that's not a possibility. And these diesel heaters, they put out a really similar heat to what a wood stove does. So nice, thorough, warm you all the way to your bones kind of heat. That's what I like, because I hate cold. But anyway, I am going to get out of here. Yeah. I honestly don't even remember what the whole Andrew Tate thing's about. I'll refresh my memory. That was the last thing that had popped up. But I am going to get out of here, and I appreciate everybody coming. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow for another round of nonsense. Hopefully it won't be quite so busy, but I'm not gonna say it's not. And well, we'll just cover the new stuff then. So hope you all have a good evening, and God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit, and shalom.